I want to transition to our next phase and just talk about your biggest prospect hit or miss. And I think this is another area where you're really unique in that you have a terrific eye of talent. And we've talked back and forth about Jedrick Wills when you made him your early offensive tackle one last year, and that's something that you were very prideful and pounding your chest about. So that was really good to see. But I think you're very gifted in that you can identify talent essentially before a lot of people get to them. So just talk about that as far as being able to identify talent, and then maybe go in depth about your biggest prospect hit, and then somebody else that taught you a lesson that you missed on.
Well, yeah, no, and it's funny. It's a fine line between, um, you know, trying, like you said, pound your chest, but at the same time, you don't want to, come off as you're, bragging or, it's a weird thing because I do take a lot of pride in the fact that I didn't see anybody talk about Jedrick Wills as, one of the top offensive tackles until I put him at OT1. I thought he was a top 5 pick. One of the top 5 players last year. So it's just a weird thing. I mean, I'm not a self-promoter by nature. That's just not who I am. But sometimes I am very proud of a player that maybe I identified as a guy that's a big-time player. And I mean, when I think about, I've had plenty of misses, and that's why I'm not someone that likes to pound his chest, because I've had plenty of times where I've missed on guys. I think one of my best hits going back, I loved Antonio Brown out of Central Michigan. He was so sudden, so electric. I mean, he just ran circles around MAC defenders. He did whatever he wanted, and it was just unfair. And so the combine did not go well for him. He's in like the mid 4.5s. His other testing numbers weren't great, but the tape was just awesome. And obviously, we know he's a little different, personality-wise, but it made no sense to me why he fell to the 6th round. And obviously, he went on to have a great, 10-year run there, longer than 10 years before things kind of went off the rails a little bit. Biggest miss, I've certainly had plenty of them. We all do, and that's, I think, goes back to one of my beliefs, and that's, as a scout, don't worry about going undefeated because you're going to make mistakes. In scouting, it's not about going undefeated. It's about building a strong batting average with your evaluation. So mistakes, they're an essential part of learning and growing as a person. And I think that's true in both life and scouting. But for me, one of my biggest misses, no doubt, has to be Pat Mahomes. And I think he's a great example of just how tough it is to evaluate the quarterback position. So much of it is mental, the mental side of things. And you can watch his Texas Tech tape. He's basically playing backyard football in a conference not known for defense, in a pass-happy offensive system. So you're left with all these questions. Can he read defenses? Can he adjust to NFL coverages? There's so much from a mental aspect I just don't think we knew about him. And there was a ton of about him as a prospect, obviously, the way he can improvise, his arm, his movement skills. But there were also so many questions, and he has obviously outplayed everyone's expectations. But definitely I'd like to have a mulligan on projecting Pat Mahomes.